Yeah, without a doubt.
Welcome to the All Funk No Bunk podcast. My name is Noah. On Instagram, I'm also known as the Desert Hippie.
And I'm Nick, and I am at the Bearded Dapper Reviews on Instagram.
So, guys, on this episode for the How to Smoke miniseries, we'll be doing concentrates today. The first things that we'll be talking about are kind of what concentrates are for anyone that doesn't know.
So concentrates are dabs, wax, oil, concentrate. There's a bunch of different names for them.
Yeah,
but it's all
extract.
essentially the same thing.
Yep.
Excuse me. Sorry. So it's gonna be. It's like you're concentrating the good stuff from the cannabis plant that you really want, and you're just leaving kind of the stuff that you don't want out. You know, that's really it. I mean, and what's left over is like obviously like the cannabinoids and terpenes and stuff that you like. You know, the THC and CBD that you've heard of. That's what's left over. That's how you concentrate it.
Biggest benefits to your high, and you're just making it more potent in a smaller form.
What's left is pretty much just waxy substance. Sometimes it's drier, sometimes it's wetter, but it's just this little wax that you can find just in these little glass jars, usually. And like I said, it comes in a bunch of different consistencies, but it's all the same thing pretty much. Mm-hmm. So how you take a dab, the most common way to inhale your concentrate, to take a dab, as people call it, is
so they say.
So the kids are calling it these days, dabs, is what's called an oil rig or a dab rig or a rig, or it's essentially a mini bong for your concentrates. And instead of a bowl on it, it's going to have what they call a nail or a banger or a bucket. And that is essentially just something that it's made of quartz or titanium, and you just want to heat that up, sometimes ceramic as well. And you just want to heat it up. You can get it real hot, and it pretty much just has a hole above it, and that sucks in the vaporized hot concentrate, and that's how the rig works. So you'll want to use like a torch to heat up your bucket or your nail. They sell these at places. There's big ones, there's small ones, but most of them are about yay big. You fill them with butane. You just take the flame and you put it underneath or on the nail or the bucket or the...
I think the easiest way to probably think about it is really the bucket. Think of a bucket hanging off the end of your bong, and you're using that flame to heat the bottom of it.
Yeah, so you're heating up the bottom of the bucket, and you're going to take a tiny little piece of your concentrated cannabis, because course it's concentrated, so it's potent, so you want a little tiny piece. You take a little tiny piece and you drop it into the bucket, and the bottom's really hot. So what it does is it heats up that concentrate to a boil, and then that boils off into a vapor, very similar to how steam is, when you're boiling water on a stove in a pot. So you get the bottom of the pot hot, the water gets hot, it boils, and it turns into a vapor, the steam. It's essentially the same thing, but it's cannabis oil. It's sitting in the bottom of the bucket. It warms up, turns to vapor, and then that, the hole above the bucket there is what catches all the vapor, the smoke, and you can inhale it through your piece, and it'll bubble like a bong, and you'll get your hit. You take it all the way into your lungs, and then exhale.
It's really simple. It's really just like the bong. Just a bucket hanging off. You heat the bottom, and it slowly heats the oil into a steam, and you inhale that steam just like you do through a bong, and it gets you higher, faster. You need one hit of a dab compared to a few hits of a bong. You probably can equate like 4 hits of a bong to like one dab, like roughly. Don't hold me to that, but like just to give you an idea.
Concentrates and weeds are different.
Different, for sure. But just like
to give
the
you
concept.
A rough generalization of how they're a little more stronger, the concentrate's gonna be.
And maybe even like some of the benefit too. For some people that are in a hurry on the go, that's why they do dabs. They can do one, be done, and get on their way. Yeah. It also is a little bit more flavorful than than your flower, and I think that has to do with the heating
because you're
stuff.
And I also think it's because you're concentrating the flavor.
The flavor.
You're concentrating it down.
Absolutely.
So that's all that's left really is mostly flavor. So you get a lot of flavor from it. So just so you know, that's the most common way probably to do dab. But then there's also things like smart rigs, they call them, and terp pens and stuff. So The smart rig it's the exact same thing that you just told, except there's a battery attached to it, and the battery heats up that coil and that nail or the bucket instead of a flame. But it's essentially the exact same thing. It's just battery operated, so you can take it anywhere with you, and it heats up and to a perfect temperature every time, which is also one of the nice things about it.
It's so good too. I mean, it's definitely...
You're gonna see the puff go around a lot, probably
A lot.
in all of our videos.
Yeah.
So just so you know what that is.
So it's auto
we
heating.
talk about the Puffco in any of our videos, and you're watching this to get caught up. This is it. Mm-hmm. And it just it heats up all on its own. It's battery operated.
We have concentrate
in here, and that's where the bucket is. And then there's a little bit of water in here, and that's like the glass, the pipe part. And then you just inhale the vapor, and it heats it up all for you.
Ooh, here he goes. So that whole time it was just auto heating. He's got his carb cap on top, which he'll go over in a sec, the functionality of that too, but it's just heating. It vibrated, let him know it was ready. Now he's slowly drawing on it.
Just pass that over there so we can finish that up. And just so you know, the carb cap, you can use it on your other pieces as well. Your oil rig, like I said, it's not just for the Puffco, it's for all types of dabs. You're essentially, what happens is you place that over top of the bucket, and what that does is it creates convection, because there is one little tiny hole that's forcing air in, like a stream of air, and that spins the air around inside of the bucket, and that creates convection, which helps boil off the concentrates quicker, so you don't have to get the bucket quite as hot. And it also helps preserve flavor because you're not burning anything off. You're not actually combusting anything, you're boiling it into a vapor.
Fair enough. Dope. So tasty too. I think that's one of the more connoisseur ways. It is expensive, guys, but it's worth the money when you pay it up front, because it's just
if you're, especially
so
if you're someone that actually dabs all
Yeah.
day, every day. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the way to do it. And then there's something, like I said, like a terp pen or a nectar collector. So they're essentially the same thing. It's just, like I said, it's the same difference between an oil rig and a smart rig. I mean, one's battery operated, the other one's like flame operated, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So but they're the same thing essentially. The terp pen.
So the terp pen, I really love these because they're so easy. If you're just getting into dabs, this thing is just as easy as it gets. It looks like a pen you can put in your top pocket, but you pull this end off right here where your tip of your pen would normally be, and it's got some coils right on the front there, and those coils just heat up, and you dip it right into your concentrate. So all you have to do is draw on it. You're gonna suck and then dip it.
And the
right
action
in.
of sucking is what turns on
is
the battery
activating it.
and gets it going.
Yeah, so literally all I have
No
to do
buttons or nothing. You
Yeah.
literally just inhale, and it's all fully automated.
Yep. Put this in my mouth. Inhale slowly. With a lot of these things, you don't want to power hit. You just need to sip. You just need to
With almost
barely
all
hit.
of these things. It's not like a bong where you're full chest inhale. But these things you're really sipping slowly and taking a nice long slow draw inhale into your lungs.
Yeah,
nice
consistent
nice and easy slow hit. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just slowly and consistently inhale on the back end and then dip the front end right into my concentrate. But I'm not going to dip it too far. You just
It's not a
wanna
full dunk.
touch
It's just
it.
a slight graze
just
to
the
top.
surface area. Otherwise, you're going to kind of clog this thing up, essentially. So that's all I got to do is just... Super easy. Super easy. Most common name for this will be a nectar collector. This is the automated version, which is the terp pen. But the nectar collectors or other glass pieces will be the same thing essentially, but you take a torch and you heat up the front end with the torch, just like the rig
dip
versus
it into your
Puffco.
Concentrate just like that. And the hot end is what heats it up, and you inhale through. Creates the same thing.
Yep. All right.
Last is going to be vape pens that you'll buy like at the store. So this is like a vape cartridge or a disposable vape pen. This is a disposable, but they're essentially the same thing. So what this is just, so they call this oil, but it's the same thing. Like I said, it just comes in a different consistency. It's still dabs. It's still wax. It's just liquidy instead of solid. They put it inside of these little atomizers, they call them, and inside of there is just, it's the same thing. It's coils, it's wires, it's a battery. It's all you need to know is that it heats it up with ceramic and wire, and that creates the vapor, which you draw through automatically. These are also auto draw, so you just put your mouth on one end that has the hole. The other end's just the battery, so it's totally automatic, and you just inhale. And it creates all the vapor automatically, all the smoke automatically, and you can just inhale it. And it's the easiest, most probably efficient way to get cannabis into your system. I mean, to just be like...
Yeah, it makes the most sense for the times. It doesn't smell as much. It's easy to pull out. It doesn't smell like weed. You can just hit this thing and go, and someone around you, unless they are really like
into the cannabis world and know what vape pens are and are smoking them every day,
for the most part,
they wouldn't know the difference.
If you're trying to do anything out and about, or in public in any way, these make the most sense. It's just distillate's the easiest thing. There is no added stuff. This is literally the only thing that I need to get high. Like Nick said, you can just pull it out of your pocket and hit it and go and put it right back. And it's really, no one has really any say or notice about it usually. And that's why they're so popular. I will say that a lot of people have been, very worried about the vape crisis too, but those were all the issues with distillate was only from unlicensed dispensaries or from black market retailers. Anything from a licensed dispensary has been tested and is 100% safe, so you don't ever have to worry about that. Just want to put the public's mind at ease on that for sure, because the reporting on it was really bad besides what Leafly did.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
Cool.
That's concentrates for you.
That's concentrate, guys. Thanks for tuning into All Funk No Bunks, a little How to Smoke web series. We hope we helped you out.
Hope you see you at the rest.
Yeah,
Without a doubt.